Hello, everybody. It is Ken yet again, and I am this time doing what it says on screen, time-lapse drawing of Paulina. I will get into some detail about that after I do this opening. This is a printout that I did to lay out my painting, and I have carbon paper taped to the back of it. So what I'm doing is I use that hard utensil just to transfer it to the paper that I'm going to be drawing on, as you can see there. I actually did it a little darker than I should have because I was thinking with it being carbon paper that it would be erasable. It's not. It's slightly erasable, but not as much as I wanted it to be. I'm living and learning, and for people that don't know, I hadn't drawn in about 25 years since, before this drawing and the one I did of Allie. So I was doing them both at the same time. I started on the one of Allie on some paper that I had around here that I used to draw on a lot. And 25 years ago, there weren't the resources to teach people, all the ins and outs of drawing that there are now. So I didn't have as many resources to tell me about good paper, just the differences and how to get more realistic drawings and detail. So I started with that paper that I had with Allie's, and I was finding it was awful rough and I wasn't able to get the detail I wanted. So I ordered some good paper, some Strathmore 300, I think it's 300, and smooth. And that is what I started Paulina's drawing on, and the difference was night and day. It ended up giving me so much more detail, and probably will get even more as I get better because, like I said, 25 years, I was just figuring out if I could draw again. Luckily, I work in Photoshop all the time, and as it turns out, Photoshop has helped hone my drawing skills as well. It was a nice surprise. I'm using a full range of pencils, pretty much everything from I think a 5H was the highest I used, which I'm going to be commenting on the drawing stuff for artists as well as for the warning fans that are watching this because it's Paulina and they won't know about pencils and things like that, so it'll be a little bit of rudimentary talk, but it's to kind of help everybody that may be watching this. So when I said 5H, H is like a hard pencil, which means you can get very fine light lines, and B, which I used all the way down to an 8B, are softer leads and they give you the darkest tones. So that is what I used for this entire drawing. And it's moving awful quick because I was noticing that time-lapse drawings on the internet are really not that long, so it's actually less time than I would like to talk because anybody that has watched any of my stuff before knows I love to talk. So anyway, I've jumped ahead so much further in such a short amount of time, but what you'll notice is as I'm doing all my shading and all that, I tend to not define an area and finish it before I move on to other areas. I like to kind of block out the whole drawing, and that may change. I think it may change it with my next drawing. But I tend to block everything out and start to get it to where it actually looks like the person, to where I can feel good about it. At this point, I really don't think it looks that much like Paulina, but it's still in its, sketching out phase. The white thing that you see me use every once in a while, okay, now that orange tip thing that just came up, I wasn't sure what it was used for because, like I said, I've never had a really good pencil set before. And so I was learning on the fly how to use everything, and I thought the orange thing was some kind of erasery thing. I don't know what it is, but it didn't do what I expected. So right now I'm trying to lay in a lot of the contrast and the highlights and shadows and contour the face and just kind of get a rough laying out here. And I know this commentary will be all over the place, but hopefully, because you won't know what the hell I'm going to say next and all that, you'll keep watching, and then at the end you'll go, wait, oh, that was that long? So what I really strive for is, I like realistic drawings, but they're not hyper realistic yet. I will probably work towards that. And it's not that I can't do it, it's just this one I wanted to be realistic, but not just so, it takes so much time that I would burn out on my first drawing before I've even gotten back in the swim of things. And at the bottom, it's going to go out into sketchy parts. I'm not going to have it realistic on the entire drawing, so I thought it might be better to go a little, that way. Now, in the middle of her lip, the line, it'll come into play later, but I've gotten it too thick, and it's affecting the shape of her mouth. It's one of those things that I know I'm going to have to do, adjust as I go, but I decided to just go ahead and go for it. There's a little smudgy stick thing. No, I'll call it a smudge stick. What I just used right there, it's a white piece of, I think it's cotton. And it's just basically paper, and you use it to smooth out the lines in the drawing, because a lot of times you'll have the lines as you're using the pencil, and then you want to smooth them out to where you don't see the individual lines. So you use the white smudgy stick there. And all you artists, of course, know this. I did not know that because I had never used a smudge stick before when I was drawing, 25 years ago. I didn't even know they existed. And that is where the internet is helping artists progress so much further, so much quicker than they used to. Because I was self-taught as an artist. I never had classes. And that made it hard to know all the ins and outs and things like that. But I have learned so much just watching internet videos now, or YouTube videos, I should say. And I have learned a ton of stuff. One thing I can't wait to try is charcoal powder to get richer blacks. Okay, jumping around again, speaking of richer blacks, the drawing I did of Owley on the rougher paper, it was also not a very white paper. It had a little bit of a cast to it. And ultimately, it ended up not letting me get the richer, deeper blacks that I was looking for, that I was able to get with this paper, and the fact that the white makes it, stand out a little better. I will hopefully get even better as I go with it, but for now, you live and learn, and right now I was still learning. But another thing, a little side note, is drawing to me is relaxing. And it's especially relaxing because anybody that's seen my other videos knows that I'm also a musician. And one of my main things is I'm a singer. So when I'm drawing, I basically just throw on a playlist called Painting. What a shocker. And I go ahead and just sit and sing for the entire time I'm painting. At the end of this painting, I had sung 115 songs, or drawing. Now, jumping to the hair right here. I know I'm covering a lot of ground quickly, but let's just go with it. The hair in the picture that I did was actually smoothed down flat on her head, and it was before she cut it and gave herself bangs. So I found a picture of her that had the hair basically how it would lay out for this angle, and just went ahead and threw it on in Photoshop to see how it would look, because I was deciding between the bangs or sticking with the original. But once I threw the bangs on there, I was like, wow, that really does look cool. So I decided to put the bangs. So it was really low resolution JPEG, so I was just making the details up and doing it as I went along. So just kind of freehanding the hair. And two, this was before I had seen a whole lot about mechanical erasers. I was using the gum eraser, which you can do to put some fine lines in, but it doesn't get extremely fine, or at least not at my, where my skill level is with using it yet. But after I finished this drawing, I went ahead and ordered a mechanical eraser to use on other ones to be able to put in fine hairs and highlights, after you finish all the darks. I'm really curious to give it a go, and I'll be using it on the next drawing I do of Allie and Danny, because Danny has blonde hair, and all these women, all these pictures I'm referencing, by the way, are members of the band The Warning. For artists who are here watching this and don't know the band, which is why most of the people who are here watching this are that they are fans of the band. So anyway, I'll be using that down the line. Now right here, I am making a mistake. Where the bangs meet at the top, there's a line that goes across where her bangs come down and then the other hair starts up. I had forgotten, and it's funny, I'm sitting here pointing at the screen like you can see me. I had forgotten to bring the bangs in at the top up close to her head and leave a little indentation, as it would be. I ended up with just a solid line going up. So that was the last thing I had to go in and fix. Well, I shouldn't say the last thing, because what I'm doing right now with the shadowing on the cheek, she does have more defined cheek than she used to have. As she's gotten older, it's refined. But I ended up, I think, getting it a little too defined. And when I posted this on Facebook, one of the people said that she looks older than she is. Paulina is 20. I think she's 20, not 21 yet. So she's 20. He was saying that she looked older than 20. And when I got to looking at it, I was realizing, she does look a little older than the picture I was working from. So I started trying to figure out why. And basically I just put my hand over different parts of her face to see if, which part looked right and which part didn't. It's kind of just a good practice. If you can't figure something out, block out other parts of the picture until you figure out where you went wrong. When I covered up her cheek and her jawline and all that, she automatically looked more like Paulina at the age she is now. So I figured out that I had sunken the cheek in too much, and it made her look too much more mature. And I don't mean mature in a bad way, or in a good way, whichever way you want to look at it. I just mean it made her look older than she is right now. So that guy's comment, I don't remember who it was, I think it was Roberto maybe. His comment made me take a second look and fix something that I didn't realize was broken. I went in, and on the final picture that you see, you'll be able to see that I cut in the top of the hair and then also softened her cheek and jaw to where it de-aged her a little bit and just gave her face a softer look. Drawing hair, I'll talk about that while I'm doing it. Hair is all about going the direction of the hair. Try not to just color in the black spots, going the direction that the hair isn't. Always follow the direction of the hair. Otherwise, you'll end up with things that you have to go back and try and erase back and fix. Good thing is, down here, her jacket was actually solid black. It was a black leather jacket in the picture I was working from. But I decided I wanted it to go off into sketchiness down at the bottom, and it did two things for me. One, it just gave it more of an artistic look, but it also got away from me having to color black in for the entire bottom of the picture. And that was something I was very happy to do. So at this point, I'm just trying to get all the details in, and it's always harder when you're getting in the details at the end because you've done the fun parts. and now you're doing the workman type part, and having to do the things that aren't as much fun but still necessary. So that is where I was at, and trying to get the fur laid in to where it looked furry but still drawn. It's a balancing act, but I think I pulled it off pretty well. And at this point, I was getting really happy about how my drawing was coming because, like I said, I had no idea how it was going to go. But there you go. You got little things like filling in earrings, and when we back off, I don't know if you'll notice it. She has a mole, a birthmark on her jawline that was in the picture, but I haven't seen it in every picture, so I wasn't sure if it was a birthmark or just something that was there at the time. There I am fixing that spot in the bangs where I screwed up. Anyway, so I went ahead and took away the birthmark just to be safe. I figure most people won't notice it, and if they do, yay for them. Here we are with the final picture, and I think for my first finished drawing in all those years, it turned out pretty nicely. I actually wish I had had more time in this video to cover more ground and talk about more things, but I still have the alley picture that I'm going to be putting up in a couple days of drawing that, and I can get to some of the things I didn't get to here. So, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.